Good morning, everyone, and welcome. Thank you, Dave. Thank you so much, Christine, for your beautiful music. I want to welcome each and every one of you. So glad you're here. Welcome, everybody joining us from around the world, joining our live stream service. And of course, well, it's here, isn't it? Fall has arrived in all of its beautiful color and glory. And anyone joining us on our live stream who maybe live in a temperate zone or someplace where maybe they don't experience fall, and you're asking what is fall, well, it's the 2 days between summer and winter. And of course, we're celebrating so many wonderful things this week. I mean, we had a beautiful full moon, and the trees are really putting on their finest fall colors. It's been so enjoyable. Also, we're celebrating Veterans Day this week. And I would like to invite anyone who is available to join me Tuesday at the World War I Memorial, where they're having their celebration of Veterans Day, and they have asked me to do the invocation for the celebration Tuesday. And I told them I would be honored to represent Temple Buddhist Center and our Sangha at this very auspicious occasion. So you can find out more about that. Just go to the World War I website, and they'll tell you all about parking and things like that for the event. So if you can make it out, wonderful. If not, I believe it is televised or at least recorded. I can let you know more about that. So in honor of that, for today, I think that we should ourselves take a few moments in Sangha, in community this morning, and just drop in. It's not a full-on meditation, but it's an opportunity to open our hearts and allow in gratitude. Open our hearts and allow gratitude for this occasion, for those who, for whatever reason, have walked the path of service, who have dedicated their lives to the protection and the cultivation of equality, who have dedicated their lives in the pursuit of justice, and in many cases have given their lives for this idea, this concept of democracy. For those who have also, in many cases, given their lives for freedom, all kinds of freedoms. For example, this morning, freedom to practice in a way that cultivates understanding, which cultivates unity, helps us to find the light in each other when sometimes we're not able to see that light ourselves. And may we honor these individuals and their legacy by making the same dedication of our lives to the cessation of suffering for all beings in all places. All right, thank you, everyone. And again, good morning. So glad you are here and you braved the chilly weather. And as Dave said, we do have some blankets that we've set back there. So if at any time, and some cough drops or some lozenges. So at any time during the service this morning, if you would like any of those things that they help to make you more comfortable, then please, by all means, partake. So the Dharma Talk this morning, and as Sam already got way ahead of us and she read the cartoon. So for our Dharma Talk this morning, it's a little bit of play on words. Of course, lessons from the fall being this time period, but also lessons from the fall. Those times when we have stubbed our toe and those opportunities which oftentimes are very unpleasant or uncomfortable, but they are opportunities to learn, opportunities to grow, opportunities to transform. My grandpa always used to say, calm seas never made a good sailor. And so in that there's a deep wisdom in there. So in the spirit of that same wisdom, I wanted to talk a little bit today about some of the spiritual lessons and practices that are suggested by the coming of autumn, by the arrival of fall, and by reflecting upon those times when we have experienced struggles and difficulties. So here are some areas for your meditation. The first one I'd like to share with you is balance. Just a couple of weeks ago, September 22nd, I think it was, we had, of course, the autumnal equinox. I had to practice that a few times in the mirror. Autumnal equinox, where, of course, as we know, day and night become equal. There's the exact same number of hours of day as there are of night at this point. And so this is, of course, a wonderful metaphor. It is far too often that we fear the dark and we adore the light itself. And even in my own life, I am beginning to acknowledge that it is just as natural to feel insecure, to feel anxious, as it is to sometimes feel peaceful, to feel happy. These two are always playing with balance, aren't they? And so we sometimes lean a little too far this way and a little too far that way. And so we're always working towards balancing this awareness of those things in my life that bring me joy and balancing that with the recognition of the things that are troubling, are difficult for me, or are challenges. And so it's a recognition of balance, of holding these things equally. Obviously the equinox is taken from that root word equal. So when we can learn to hold these things equally, what happens is it becomes less of a doing and a trying to shuffle and bring my awareness to positives and negatives, to realizing that the human heart is vast. It has no boundaries, and it can hold all of these things and so much more. It is our awareness that collapses down onto only one thing. So many members of the community that I talk to these days, for some of them, the only reality right now is that the United States is being destroyed. And for others, the only reality right now is that more people are going to be suffering. And for others, the only reality is that we must work towards reconciliation and unity. And so I just find it fascinating how we collapse down. And is there not room for all of these things in our hearts? At certain times, we can feel sadness for the people that are suffering more right now, and so we feel sadness. And there are times when we feel concern for the policies that are being put forth within our government. But at the same time, the actions that we take, if they are only in one area, then we lose sight of the fact that we can work towards reconciliation. We can work towards unity. We can work towards depolarization and work towards finding bridges to help each other as a society, as a community, as a country, to find equal standing, equal ground, common ground, they call it. And so I am working on these states as well as I talk about these. I stay present to the increasing needs of our Temple Buddhist Center Sangha, both near and far, known and unknown, as during this time of transition, the needs of the community are changing, moving. And so I maintain a presence as best as I can to hold all of that and not get pigeonholed or collapsed down onto only one direction. All possibilities exist. Equanimity itself is an embodiment of our ability to live in the context of our lives instead of being caught up in the content of our lives. Equanimity is the embodiment of our ability to live in the context of our lives instead of the constant content of our lives. This is an important distinction. Notice, my friends, how balance cultivates a just enough mentality. Just enough. Just enough time in front of the television. Just enough time in solitude, just enough time with friends, just enough food on the plate. You all know Rochelle, our musician who plays on the first and third Sundays. And we go out and have coffee and lunch from time to time. And she has gotten into this practice where she always brings a little to-go box with her. And the moment whatever it is comes out, she instantly cuts it in half, puts it in the tube, and then we have lunch. So she has this little practice where she always creates just enough because often what is brought is way too much. Just enough to feel like I have gotten some food. I don't need to feel bloated, or I don't need to feel hungry. It's just enough. And this just enough mentality begins to pervade in our lives and helps us to cultivate equanimity. Just enough bad jokes. Just enough candy from Halloween. I see many people nodding and also going, I'm going to have to work on this one. So just enough. Let that be a practice that you can take home with you and play with. Always a playful curiosity. I'm trying not to say homework anymore because it's not really what it is. It really is a practice that you can take and play with. And if it works for you, yay. If it doesn't, we'll play with something else. The teaching of no attachment, which we hear so often in our practice, the teaching of no attachment is really just another way of saying that all possibilities exist. For some in the Sangha, as I mentioned a moment ago, their awareness has collapsed down to there's only one possibility in the world right now, in our country, or maybe at home, or maybe at your job. Do you see how that is attachment? We have attached to only one possibility. There was an interesting movie called What the Bleep Do We Know? That came out so many years ago. And in that, there was this scene, the whole movie was kind of broken up into vignettes, but there was a scene called Duke's Court of Possibilities. And it was about all these basketballs bouncing and how the person focused down onto only one possibility, this one basketball. And so as we cultivate no attachment, again, let's flip it and let's see it as not so much, no attachment, but all possibilities always exist. If we do not attach to one, then we are free to experience them all. We are free to respond in a way that brings kindness and ease into the world instead of fear, division, anger, hatred, or delusion. It's so interesting, this idea of no attachment, because it's this open hand, right? Instead of clinging to what feels good, all the sense pleasure, or pushing away the things that cause pain, we just have this open hand, this middle way, and we're not grasping on anything. We are present and free to experience all the possibilities. And then respond in a way instead of reacting. When we cling, we tend to react. So when we can be open, then we have time to breathe, to take a breath and take a moment, and then respond in a way that is helpful to all beings in that moment. Number 2 is letting go. As we watch leaves fluttering to the ground right now, we are reminded that nature's cycles are mirrored in our lives. Autumn is a time for letting go and releasing things that no longer serve us. All traditions pay tribute to such acts of relinquishment. Fall is a good time to practice getting out of the way and letting our Buddha nature guide our lives. Letting spirit be our guide, checking in with the heart. The head always knows what direction to go, doesn't it? Constantly. Oh, I know what you should do. You should do this. Unfortunately, that's always usually based on the past. So it is, again, a connection to the past instead of being more open and realizing all possibilities exist. What other ways to respond might there be? And so fall is a good time to begin to explore other perspectives, other ways of seeing by letting go of holding on to only one. I'm not saying we throw it to the curb. It is still a possibility, but it's one of thousands. In Seijaku, which is the advanced form of Tai Chi Cha, which we teach every Tuesday night here, in the advanced form of Tai Chi Cha, known as Seijaku, the practitioner experiences the movement, and there is a moment of resistance and a moment of release. As one moves through the movement, there's a moment of resistance and then a moment of release. And so by this way, we are constantly practicing. What does it feel like to let go completely? Why do we do that? So that we can become more familiar with what it feels like to release, to let go, to cultivate that energy within the body, that energy of releasing, letting go. So we can combine this practice with rituals and ceremonies at home. You don't have to go to a fancy place with lots of, pretty ornaments and decorations and things. You can create a ritual and a ceremony right here, right now. Everything that we do can be imbued with the sacred. What a beautiful gift it is that we have this embodiment of the sacred. We are sacred. So therefore, everything we do, we can put that into it. That brings purpose and meaning to every moment for ourselves. And so we can combine this with ritual and ceremony, some acknowledgement of non-attachment. You see, it is this illusion that we have cultivated through movies and television, books and stories. It's this illusion that if I let go, if I release, then I will fall or I will cease to be. But the cultivation of letting go, you see, is continuous. In fact, there's a beautiful rhythm to it if you really bring a sense of awareness to this practice of letting go. There is a rhythm to it. Think of it like this, as if you were swinging through the trees, grabbing ropes, going from one rope to another. Constant motion. Every time you open your hand, it is filled, and then you get to release, you get to let go. Each time your hand opens, it is then filled. Another thing to let go of. Constant practice in letting go until it becomes a way of life. And you will notice that you don't fall and you don't cease to be, and you're not missing anything. Life becomes abundant. As one of our monk friends that likes to visit, the Drepung Gomang monks, one of them was talking about, I think it was close to Halloween, and everybody was giving candy, and it was like, I love your holiday of Halloween, because it is in the giving that we receive. So it's that letting go is a giving. That letting go is a form of giving. Number 3, acknowledging impermanence. Autumn, of course, reminds us of impermanence of everything. We have experienced the budding of life in spring and the flowering of summer. Now the leaves are falling and the bare branches are reminding us of the fleeting nature of things. I was once told that certain spiritual masters in Tibet, they used to set their teacups upside down right before they went to bed each night as a reminder that all of life is impermanent. And then when they would awaken each morning, they would turn their teacups upside down and have the happy thought that, hey, I'm still here. Just a simple little ritual, a simple little ceremony that we can welcome each day with the happy thought that I've got 24 brand new set of 24 hours within which to awaken. So as we walk through the coming weeks together, I want to encourage you to take refuge in the 3 jewels, in the Buddha, our Buddha nature, in the Dharma, in the Sangha. And remember that the 3 jewels are not outside of you. You are the Buddha. You are the Dharma. You are the Sangha. In all of these forms, we cultivate an awareness that is so spacious that whatever arises in our minds or our hearts, in our day-to-day activities, it simply is so small and incidental compared to awareness itself. We have a body, but we are not our bodies. We have thoughts, but we are not our thoughts. And we have feelings and emotions, but we are not our feelings and emotions. Those things all come and go. We are what is aware of those things. That awareness is our Buddha nature. It is the truth of who we are. And so this presence, when we are aware of this present moment and all the phenomena that comes and goes and arises, this presence enables us to know the energetic movements of the mind without reactivity. It is simply an experience of groundedness in the midst of extremes. When the mind is steady and responsive, and when we can say to ourselves, the present moment looks like this, and it doesn't have to be different right now. I can allow what is here and offer what is needed. Sometimes that's just silence. Sometimes that is the openness of your heart to simply be here in the presence of suffering. Don't need to fix, don't need to repair, don't need to rescue. Just be. Ram Dass calls it the compassionate rock. When you're there, you are fully present, you are grounded, and you are centered. Oftentimes, that is all that is needed. And so, with that inner resource, imagine the strength of that inner resource as we engage with sometimes a rather messy world in which we live. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for your practice and all that you bring to our community. A rising tide lifts all boats. So every time you take the Noble One seat, you share your level of practice with all of us that we might also share that. Thank you.